7 months ago, Ben Shapiro thought that Bill Burr was on his team. You know, he thought Bill was one of these anti-woke mafia heroes such as himself. But then, in February of this year, Bill Burr vocalized his support for Luigi Mangione and criticized the evil practices of billionaire CEOs.
Free Luigi!
Which seemed to hurt little Ben's feelings. So much so that he made an hour-long podcast about Bill Burr, claiming that his stand-up's become weak, that he's become disconnected from his audience, and that he's turned into a woke a-hole ever since he married his current wife.
So, this brings us to Bill Burr. So, I have to say, Bill Burr is an... Okay, so Bill Burr...
But Ben Shapiro, he's a great guy.
I used to really enjoy his work. I mean, on occasion, I still enjoy his work. He's a comedian, which means he's very hit or miss. His Red Rock special, for example, hilarious. I'm such a Bill Burr fan that I actually bought a ticket for me and my wife and two of our friends to go see Bill Burr at the Hard Rock Casino down here in Hollywood, Florida. And I have to say, it was one of the worst shows I ever saw in my life because he got up there and Bill Burr has become woked. He has become woked, I assume, because his wife is very much on the...
He has become woke because he married a black woman. Okay, Ben. What the Ben? What? You're crazy.
Left. Over time, I think he became embarrassed that many people on the right thought he was very funny, and so he decided that he was going to start woking it up. So this entire show that he did in Hollywood, Florida, it was so bad that he got frustrated with the audience. The audience was not laughing at his jokes because his jokes were basically about how Floridians were a bunch of anti-gay racists. And Floridians were like, that's not true. There are a lot of gay people who live down here and a lot of Hispanics and black people who live down here. And in fact, the room is filled with Jews. Right? And so he actually...
What? Oh, wait a minute. Ben, I mean, maybe his Judar was on, like, acting up. He's like, there's so many Jews in this freaking audience. Like, what the fuck, Ben? What are you talking about?
He got so frustrated, he ended up cutting his show early and walking off the stage. And the reason was he was totally disconnected from the audience. Well, that disconnect has continued. And now he is proclaiming that he is very happy that CEOs are walking around in fear for their lives. In any case, here is Bill Burr openly cheering the murder of a United Health executive because he says CEOs should live in fear if they don't act in the way that he would have them act in a system that he has no fixes for, by the way.
I think Ben is a little woke for, like, you know, caring about these freaking corporate insurance mongers, you know, because obviously he's like the freak. I think the point that Bill Burr was trying to make is like they are the cause of why people die because of their greed, right? How is that woke? Aren't you woke? Like what is it? Like, I don't even understand what woke is. What Ben is trying to say by woke at all. I think there's a side of where, yeah, sure, it's bad to kill somebody, right? But I'm pretty sure you don't, like, Ben doesn't have a problem with killing people when it has to do with Israel and Gaza. He doesn't care about that. He's happy. He would be happy for them to get destroyed. He doesn't care. This is where also the problem lies, is where Ben Shapiro has a problem with Bill Burr condemning people to die, right? But at the same time, Ben Shapiro also too does the same thing, but he tries to justify it in a rational way, in a really fast talking way, right? That's the thing.
I love that CEOs are afraid right now. You should be. By and large, you're all a bunch of selfish, greedy pieces of, and a lot of you are mass murderers. You just don't pull the trigger. That's why it looks clean. That's why these people look, oh my God, oh, he was just, walking into a hotel. It's like, okay, but what was his job? What did he do? What was the results of it?
Okay, Bill Burr is a piece of... Okay, well, what he is saying here is truly evil.
And what's so satisfying about this podcast was the golden irony of Shapiro stating that Bill Burr was disconnected from his audience. Because if you slowly scroll down, you'll quickly see that this video was ratioed into the ground with dislikes. And pretty much everyone in the comment section let Ben know just how idiotic he sounded. And it seemed that they all came to the conclusion that Ben Shapiro would get on all fours and bark like a dog if a billionaire CEO told him to. I mean, absolutely no one agreed with what Ben was saying there. So this podcast was a overall pathetic attempt to rile up some kind of beef with Bill Burr, I guess. But the fact that Shapiro's own audience found this take to be brain dead says just about everything you need to know about the guy. And that was pretty much the end of the story. Until Bill Burr responded a few weeks later, saying, "I don't know who he is, but that guy is a jerk-off." Which, of course, goes without saying, but it's still a perfect way to sum it all up. After that response, though, of course, there was radio silence from Burr. Since, according to Bill Burr, this whole feud that Shapiro was trying to drum up with him was completely driven by money. And then Shapiro just continued making negative videos about him and his wife, sandwiched in between ads for ExpressVPN, the Daily Wire, you name it. The whole thing was a grift. So Bill Burr wisely took the higher road, until a few weeks ago, when he was sort of put on the spot about the whole Ben Shapiro thing after the interviewer asked him directly about the situation. So to put the final nail in the coffin, Bill Burr aired out everything that he's bottled up over the last 7 months, exposing Shapiro for being a greasy slick talker who's cultivated this toxic fanbase of chronically online extremists who have also been harassing Bill and his wife for the last 7 months.
Summarize for people who have been watching your
okay, before we start on that clip, look, Bill, Ben Shapiro, Ben and Bill, this messing me up a little bit. Ben Shapiro, obviously, he's a fucking little bitch. He's fucking complaining about every little thing. And then what he's trying to get at Bill is like, oh yeah, you're fucking woke. I'm like, fool, you're a fucking little Karen. What are you, dude, you're complaining all the time. Shut the fuck up. And then you're also trying to say like, hey, he's a piece of shit. But then also at the same time, you're defending people getting killed in Gaza or in Palestine or wherever, and you're defending all like, you have your own bias on people. But when you also get hit on by that, because like, look, man, like, I fucking hate religious people. They make no sense. You know, Bill Burr is actually speaking on a very important subject of like, yeah, sure, it's bad to kill somebody like that, sure. But why did he get killed? Why did somebody target him? Why would anybody kill him? If he was such a good guy, nobody would ever assassinated him or anything like that, right? Under any sort of matter that way. There must have been a reason why. And obviously, when people figured it out, they're like, oh yeah, he's fucking that guy. The reason why he got killed is because he's greedy, and he himself doesn't care because of his own greed on who dies. Everything's all money. It's all transactional. Just like how Ben Shapiro is with his content and trying to bait Bill Burr into getting him in another conversation or having another take, or like sort of responding back to him, right? Because when Bill Burr responds back, then, oh, Ben Shapiro has another video. Like, hey, we're going to make another video about, Bill Burr. He's responding to me. Because if Bill wouldn't have never responded, there wouldn't be any more, like, continuation of that. It would be done already, as is, right? But who wants that? Who wants that continuation? Who wants that shit? Is Ben Shapiro, right? He works at the Daily Wire, right? Wow, so non-woke, right? Like they say, like, go woke, go broke. But what's up with the Daily Wire? It's not woke at all, right? Seems like it's going broke, right? You know what I'm saying?